All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
Hello, all. Welcome. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning. Whenever you're joining us, we're at full strength. Albert is here, and
Albert
has a major announcement today that I want to share with everyone who's been even a newcomer to this channel. We love Albert. Albert is the guy I brought over from KGO Radio when they deleted essentially our radio station, which we were doing a very popular show. So we now come over here, and Albert is, he's the OG, and so he has a major announcement that we'll get to. Kim is in the struggle of her life right now.
Kim, how are you?
For Bay Area Hall of Fame Audiocaster of the Year.
Yes.
And largely because of my utter disdain for this award and for Kim particularly receiving it. She has been vaulted into a position where she's just behind her nemesis. I guess he's a DJ on a classic rock station called The River in North Bay of San Francisco.
I'm closing in on him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Kim is closing in on him largely because I think that he's probably more deserving of the award than she is.
What?
I don't
never been
know what
anything
the
like
award
this.
is.
I have
There
had
is
it
no
with you.
award that I can think of that Kim deserves. Okay? I just stated bluntly. And I love Kim, but I just don't see an award that Kim should win.
Really?
And so I don't know what this award is. And it sounds to me, because we talked to Kim about this like for 5 minutes yesterday, she doesn't know what the award is either.
I don't.
Nothing.
Kim is...
You haven't even voted one time. Not even once.
Exactly.
You
As a matter of fact,
I don't get it. I don't
you
get
have
it.
threatened me that you're going to vote for the other guy.
I did. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement that I will likely vote for the other guy. Whose name I can't even remember.
Right. Danny
I keep
Wright.
calling him Johnny Rivers, and I think he's on a station called The River.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I adore Kim, and I'm glad that the audience adores Kim. And I have no idea what this award is,
There's so
but
much
I know that
support.
ranting teacher Lori G is leading the jihad
Isn't that
to
nice?
get Kim this award. She writes, Kim's in second place. What was it? Can you put it back up there? The ranting Lori. Kim's in second place, over 30,000 votes.
That amazing. And of course,
In the-
Mark Thompson takes credit for that. When it's teacher Lori that should get the credit for that.
I take credit for it because you got 3,000 immediately after we talked about it. I mean, it seems to me like, again,
That was
I don't know whether I should
it was a pretty good jump. I will say that.
I
I blame you.
All right. In the Bay Area Radio Museum Hall of Fame Audiocaster of the Year contest, it's about the most cumbersome name you could ever imagine. If there was a category for most dedicated audience, she'd win hands down. That is true. Now, if you could award the audience, I would vote for the audience. Mark, you can be replaced, says Flashback. Yeah,
Hey,
I think that's true.
With the Audiocaster of the Year, you'll be in good hands on the show. It'll be fine.
I'll tell you something. I am very much aware of the fact that I can be replaced. I'm very much aware of my shortcomings. Kim lives in a world that is full of sweetness and light and, sunshine and magic. And she just does believe that she's the,
I'm not your favorite Audiocaster.
But
Sad.
look, I wish you well. And how long do we have to vote? Oh, there they all are. Gary Mora and it's for the after party live. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. I don't know what I've never heard that, so I don't know
You'll
how
probably
that
vote
is.
for the KMBR guy, I would imagine. Maybe you'll vote for the golf podcast guy. The voting continues. You can vote as many times as you want from now until July 1st.
Yeah. Well, it's
there's
very exciting.
Greg Papa's on there, Mark. The voice of the 49ers
Sure,
on the
Greg Papa. Yeah. Like I would never vote for Greg Papa because he doesn't need another award. He's already very much celebrated. So the one thing I will give Kim is that she's not, she's not being celebrated in any way. Clearly not on this show. She's
I've got
not
some
celebrated.
awards under my belt. I've got some breaking news awards, some
Do you
Associated
really?
Press awards. Absolutely.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
For your work?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Breaking
Kim used to
news
report on
awards.
those helicopters and back.
So
in the
you're
day,
telling me,
and
Kim, that you used to be good? Is that what
Yes,
you're telling
I
me?
am telling you that.
What?
I used to do a hell of a job. Breaking news.
Kim, how are you?
All right, Albert, I love it. Giving
Breaking
Kim a hard
weather,
time is
Storm
maybe my favorite.
coverage.
Yeah,
Come
is that
on.
right? Wow, you did a
Yeah.
lot of work.
This
Yeah.
is
Some
so
big awards.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
They're
I
rolling
don't
around
know.
somewhere in the old KGO studio. When we
Yeah.
all got fired, I joked around on the way out of the conference room that I was going to take mine on the way out, and the look on the boss's face was horrified, so I didn't take it. But I mean, they don't need it; it's just sitting there.
Yeah, well, it would have been wise to go
Yeah.
get it. A shout out to Clay Rogers at the end of the show yesterday. Clay came in with a $20 super
Big shout out.
chat, and it says, "Screw T Rump. Please keep up the great work calling it out." Clay, thank you. It came in so late that we didn't get a chance to give you a shout, but we wanted to give you a shout, and so we give you a shout.
shout out.
Yeah, there you go, Clay Rogers. There are super stickers and super chats. That's how we keep the station going, as you know. Also, Patreon and PayPal. We'll get to a lot today. I've got Michael Shure and Mo Kelly, and it's interesting. There is a quality of discourse on right-wing media that I want you to hear today on Fox News Channel. I'm going to play you a little Laura Ingraham. I'm going to play you a little Jesse Waters. And since I don't watch that stuff a lot, it's like really shocking to see it. The degree of coarseness, maybe, like the name calling. I just don't think, maybe because I don't operate in that world, I don't think that there is this kind of smack talking going on by these network hosts, but it's pretty ugly. So but they're making points, and they're describing a perspective politically that does need to be taken on reasonably and intellectually, and so we'll do it. I mean, I don't want to make it sound too heavy, but it needs to be refuted. It needs to be blasted back. So I will give you a bit of that. Before we get to anything, we do want to recognize all of our friends from around the globe who've joined us for World Cup, and our World Cup correspondent, the nominee for Audiocaster of the Year in the Bay Area is Kim, and she's been watching. What's happened? The Americans took to the pitch yesterday.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, that these World Cup games, it is wild how many people have attended. There are records being set right and left. 3.6 million soccer fans have attended this year's World Cup matches. That is a record. And they say that the games are going on until July 19th. So the number's only going to grow.
Wow.
And yeah, there are pictures. You can see the stadiums are packed and full. Look, I mean, they're just,
they're all
there's
over
never
the
been
country,
anything
right?
like
And they're-
this. Yes,
Yeah,
they're everywhere, and fans have come from all over the place. And yeah, they're packing all over the streets and the rallies and the street watching parties and the stadiums. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Really, really cool.
this is what crew.
This
these
is the
people are
Dutch.
cha- The Dutch. Go ahead.
Look at them all. They're from miles and miles.
We can't hear them, Kim, if you speak over them. Okay, maybe that wasn't covered in the
Sorry.
Audiocaster of the Year
Yeah.
handbook.
Well,
These are the rowing. Is this the?
the Norwegians. Yeah, the Viking row. They're pretty good.
That's pretty great.
Now you can see why they conquered much of Europe back in the day.
It would be scary to go up
Mhm.
against that. I got to
It
say,
really would.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So yesterday they had the final round of group stage games. Ivory Coast beat Curacao Ecuador over Germany. Japan and Sweden played to a draw. The Netherlands over Tunisia in Kansas City. And they say the Kansas City march to the stadium was one of the best and well attended. You could see that was what you saw there in Kansas with all the people in orange all the way down that street. Amazing. It was a draw for Australia and Paraguay in Santa Clara, but boy, the Australians, they got loud in the streets of Santa Clara as well. So again, it was a draw for Australia and Paraguay, and then Turkey beat the United States in Southern California. The Stars and Stripes falling to Turkey 3-2 in the final match of the group stage. The Team USA facing Bosnia-Herzegovina in round 32 on Wednesday.
Kamish, Albert, the U.S. team, though, didn't need it, and I think they didn't even field a couple of key players. It was like one of those situations where I think they participated in the game, but I don't think it was being played with.
Yeah, they already clinched their elimination round berth, so they didn't really need to force their star players to, risk any injury at this point. It's a one and done, so you got to protect your players. So
yeah,
it sucks that we lost. It was a great game. We almost won it. So that
the winning goal came right at the end, right?
Right at the very end. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they count. That's why they count all the votes, and that's why they play every second of the game.
Right.
What's that?
Today it's France versus Norway, Iraq versus Senegal, Cape Verde. They continue to surprise. They're up against Saudi Arabia, Spain versus Uruguay, or Uruguay, Iran versus Egypt. That's going to be a good one, and Belgium versus New Zealand.
Now, you say Iran versus Egypt. That's going to be a good one. Is that something you just threw in as audiocaster of the year, or is there a reason it's going to be a good one?
I have been reading. I think the Egyptian team is pretty strong, right, Albert?
Wow. I mean, they have a couple players that play in the Premier League, so they do have some pretty good a good chance. I mean, Portugal has been just having the one guy and a few others that are good. Like they have had Cristiano Ronaldo, but we'll see how they do.
Cape Verde was mentioned by audiocaster of the year nominee Kim McAllister, and I'm wondering if you know where Cape Verde is. Does that mean?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Tony and I looked it up when this whole thing got
then
underway.
I'm asking Albert then, maybe who hasn't looked it up. Okay,
all right then.
All right, if you had to look it up and you just looked it up, then you can't replay. You should recuse yourself.
No.
Albert, what major continent, maybe is it near? Okay, that narrows it down. They're only.
I know. There's very few. It sounds really exotic. So maybe I was thinking South America, but I'm going to go with Africa. Maybe
Africa is right. Boy, that's very, very well done.
Yeah.
Man.
Albert, thank you.
Cape's in South Africa, so the word Cape. They have.
Good point. Very good point.
I'm just connecting dots.
Very, very good point. Anyway, they are, I guess, something of a pretty good team. So.
It's in the Central Atlantic Ocean off the coast of West Africa, and it consists of 10 volcanic islands with a combined land area of about 4,000 square kilometers. It's a tiny little island nation.
Yeah. Boy, we're wanting to get to a lot of what's happening in the world. I also did want to acknowledge, because we didn't get a chance to acknowledge it earlier in the week, the passing of Tom Dreesen, the comedian, entertainer, longtime friend of Frank Sinatra. Really a great stand-up comic, and a friend of the show. In fact, he was on the show, and he told a story. He told many stories. Tells a great story about the jukebox run by the mafia in Chicago. That's where he grew up. He also told a story about basically what his life was before the Tonight Show, and then after the Tonight Show appearance, life changed. Here's a little clip from when Tom Dreesen visited the show. All those entities, the agencies, the club owners, et cetera. And what a great way to stick the landing there on the Tonight Show. And you continue to do those Tonight Shows to the point that, you're up there. What did you, 61? Is that how many you did?
Yeah, I would do 4 and 5 a year. One year I did 8 in 1 year with a couple guest hosts as well. But when you first go on the Tonight Show, to America, you had arrived. But to my industry, you hadn't arrived till you sat down and talked to Johnny.
Right.
But to our industry, when you sat down and talked to Johnny, you had arrived. And also, after that first appearance on the Tonight Show, this is what happened. I got William Morris signed. William Morris, they wouldn't even allow me to walk by their agency, let alone get signed. But the next day, CBS signed me to a development deal. A guy named Lee Curlin was watching from New York, and he signed me to a development deal. Think about this. In those days, I had a wife and 3 kids, and my rent was $225 a month in an apartment that I couldn't hardly make payments for. The next day after the Tonight Show, CBS wrote me a check for $10,000 and gave me $1,850 a month for 1 year for a development deal. I was doing Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Johnny Carson, Midnight Special, Rock Concert, Soul Train. I'm the only white comedian ever do Soul Train. I was doing American Bandstand. I was doing Hollywood Squares, $20,000 Pyramid. All these shows, a whole world opened up to me.
Wow.
And all of us, for the first time in my comedy life, even after the years with Tim and Tom, the first time the rent was paid for a year, groceries, shoes for the kids, I could relax and write material.
There you go. That's Tom Dreesen, and he's full of tremendous stories. In fact, even David Letterman, in commenting on his passing this week, talked about the fact that he made friends immediately at the Comedy Store with Tom Dreesen. Endless stories, much wisdom. Everyone admired him, looked up to him, and wondered if he would ever stop talking. He never did. He never will. We love him for that. We'll miss the stories. Really an interesting life, made more interesting, not just because of show business, but because of the way his life overlaid Frank Sinatra's, touring with Frank and getting to know Frank and become a friend of Frank. So anyway, he was on the show, and we did want to note his passing. He passed at 86, dying just this week. It's also notable, and particularly to my boomers, my baby boomers. Where are you? Yeah, okay. The lead singer of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, David Clayton Thomas, passed away. And David Clayton Thomas was one of those, I'll say, cornerstone voices of pop music through the 70s. And Blood, Sweat, and Tears with Spinning Wheel, You've Made Me So Very Happy. They ruled the charts year after year. And he was Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Once he was brought into the band, he was actually brought into the band by a guy I know named Bobby Columbi. And Bobby was part of Blood, Sweat, and Tears before David Clayton Thomas got there. And they were really good then. But David Clayton Thomas, Bobby says, when he came in and he did one song, Bobby said, I knew that the band was going to change forever after that. He's just so good and so transformational in his talent. And so David Clayton Thomas, born in England, and before he ended up in Toronto after the Second World War, he was homeless, spent a great deal of his teenage years in trouble, living in and out of a number of jails. And then in the 60s, he started to find success as a musician and fronted this band called the David Clayton Thomas and Fabulous Shays, and then moved to New York. And then joined Blood, Sweat, and Tears. They were reforming because they had kind of broken up. And Clive Davis, who we also talked about in the last couple of weeks, he was one of the key figures who described Clayton Thomas as a staggering musician. A real interesting band, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. In fact, David Clayton Thomas said, we had guys in that band whose background was totally Juilliard. It was such an unusual mix of people. We had other guys who were right out of Berkeley, hardcore bebop jazzers. And then we had another faction like me who were basically saloon-trained rock and roll R&B Telecaster players. His first album was a smash hit, sold 10 million copies worldwide. Won 5 Grammys. And When I Die, You've Made Me So Very Happy. These are the hit singles from that. And then listen to what he said about the first time he sang. When Clayton Thomas was asked if he knew the band would be as successful as it became, he said, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but yeah, the first time I walked in and sang with that band, we were in shock. It was one of those electrical things that happen. That's exactly what I was mentioning that Columbia said all those years ago. Anyway, David Clayton Thomas passes away. Brilliant talent. He was 84 years old. And I think to a lot of our listener viewers, he was an impactful voice of pop music. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
How is it working out in the Gulf? I know that there is a memorandum of understanding. It seems that everybody's understanding on the memorandum is a little bit different, though. And apparently, in the last 24 hours, there has been a return of problems in the Strait to the point that shipping in the Strait now has come to a stop. Albert will give you the latest.
To the latest efforts to end the war with Iran. President Trump says the U.S. and Iran are close to a deal, but the situation appears uncertain after an Iranian drone strike on a vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is tracking it all from the White House. Rachel, good morning.
Wait, good morning to you. And this is a clear escalation, and it's unclear this morning how this is going to impact the ongoing negotiations on making a longer-term deal to end this war. We are told that Iranian forces launched a drone strike on a cargo ship that was passing in the Strait of Hormuz. The strike stopped traffic in the Strait. Oil prices jumping after the attack, but have fallen below $70 a barrel this morning. All of it, though, contradicting the president, who just hours earlier and later claimed that the Strait was open as he praised the talks. But Iran has imposed new conditions forbidding ships from traveling outside of its approved shipping lanes. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has also made it clear that if Iran tries to interfere with ships passing through the Strait, that would be a violation of the agreement that the president just reached with Iran. So now this is raising many questions on where this goes from here, Wet.
Yeah, and so I think there are a couple of things going on. One is the clear understanding that Iran is maintaining control of the Strait. So there can be all the pronouncements and all of the declarations and memoranda of understanding that you want, but it is clear that the Iranians are in control. This is going to be an ongoing issue, and once the 60-day window closes, you're going to have to deal with the very real possibility and likelihood that there's going to be a tolling of the Strait. Much as you don't want it, it does appear as though the Iranians are going to be going for it. And let's be clear, the Iranians are the winners. The Iranians have the leverage. It's been talked about in so many, you've heard military officials talk about it, you've heard history professors talk about it. I mean, it's all over everywhere that the Iranians have the leverage in this negotiation. And so as events transpire after the 60 days, I'd expect the Iranians to take that leverage and do something with it. They're already going to get hundreds of billions of dollars in immediate relief of sanctions. And this is insane. The store has been given away. I mean, it's insane from the standpoint of in any way calculating that the Americans have gotten anything from this, that the West has gotten anything, that the Israeli-U.S. strike on Iran somehow brought about any kind of victory. It's absurd. You now have a return of Iran to the world stage, a renewed financially whole Iran with the power to gain more in the way of financial wholeness by selling their oil that is now unsanctioned. In U.S. dollars, I guess, would be the gift. So you don't need to worry about the petrodollar being undermined on some level. But apart from that, I don't see any advantage that the Americans have gained from this. It has been an utter fiasco for us. So, of course, Trump, Rubio, J.D. Vance are going to tell you all the ways in which it's been great, but the reality is quite the contrary. And so now you've seen overnight the Iranians reasserting themselves. So it seems, I mean, it's unclear who fired the drone, but the point is it's not a safe passageway. And that's important for shipping that was supposed to resume with some normalcy in the days ahead. By the way, at the same time this is going on, and this is not a small thing, if you remember the conversation we had with Trita Parsi, the existence of the Israeli military in Lebanon is no small issue to the Iranians. And just now, Israel and Lebanon signing a framework agreement in Washington. This just happened minutes ago. There were several days of talks to secure an end to this fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. Of course, Hezbollah is backed by Iran. And the Lebanese ambassador and her Israeli counterpart signed a trilateral document with the U.S. at the State Department in Washington. It just happened. So Rubio was saying, today we've taken the first step in what will be a difficult journey without a doubt, but an important and essential and necessary one. So again, I don't know that they're putting to bed the Lebanon problem, but it does appear that they're trying to put that to bed. And the one thing I wanted to mention to you was something I thought was really notable, and I did mention it at the time, but it might have been swept up in all of the events of the entire Iranian war. What I had mentioned before was the true devastation, the true destruction that followed the Israeli and American attack on Iran on U.S. military bases in the region. And there was an interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal that discussed just this, that in Bahrain, the U.S. Navy base there was repeatedly targeted. And a lot of those strikes got through, caused extensive damage, according to this Wall Street Journal piece. They looked at satellite imagery, and the Pentagon hasn't publicly acknowledged this as a problem, but it is. And we even mentioned it on the show that they weren't even housing military personnel there anymore because they just didn't have a place to secure them. The military said no one was killed, but this Naval Support Activity Bahrain base is what it's called, supposedly existed, and after all these strikes, the Pentagon said nothing significant was impacted in terms of operations militarily in the region. But now it's being revealed that there was extensive damage done to the sole naval base in the Middle East, along with 20 U.S. sites across the region, including military installations and diplomatic facilities. So the entire U.S. footprint in the region of the Middle East is being reevaluated because they're seeing the very real vulnerability of these outposts in the Middle East. And if you look at the satellite imagery, it's pretty impressive how repeatedly those missile strikes did a lot of damage. They're now considering revamping the military base in Bahrain, reducing the U.S. presence in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, and moving some of those bases west, farther from the reach of Iranian missiles and drones. A lot of the structures that were attacked and destroyed may not be rebuilt, they're saying. They're going to move some stuff underground, the same way the Iranians have. They're considering basing some of this stuff in Israel. So what you're seeing in America and at the military level, at the Pentagon, is, of course, this rah-rah testosterone, bloodlust-filled guy in Pete Hegseth, but the realities of those who are competent at all at the Pentagon are rethinking the American footprint militarily in the region. Where should it be? And finally, and we talked about this yesterday, they're getting pushback from the former allies in the region, now realizing that having the military base there or any kind of American presence in your country can be a vulnerability. It can be a deficit should the Americans and Israelis try to pull off something along the lines of what they did with Iran. All of a sudden, Iran says, great, you're in with the U.S., then you're going to endure the retribution for their attack. So all of this is happening at the same time. I'm telling you, the Middle East, the alliances and the military balance and the commercial balances and passage of ships, it's all being recalibrated now. It's a reboot, in effect, of what's happening in the Middle East. So we continue.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Albert has a major announcement, which we'll get to in a moment. You want to do it? Should we get to the boys right now, or Albert? I mean, it's kind of a big deal. Your announcement. I mean, I feel like the boys would want to know.
Florida. I mean, Florida's my segment, so I can make it.
Okay, all right. A major announcement from Albert will follow this segment with two distinguished gentlemen. They are so generous to be here on Fridays. This guy, such clean takes. I love listening to his manner of speaking, the perspectives he offers, clear, always with it. He's the great Mo Kelly.
Good afternoon, sir.
Nice to see you, sir. And this guy's forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. Michael Shure joins us. God,
I want to know what the announcement is. I don't want to wait till Florida.
I know it does. Well, we'll do it at the end of your segment, if that's cool. I mean, you'll be here anyway, so
it's a way to keep me on, I guess.
Can you hang out? Usually, Michael's. I got to be done. I got to be done at 20 after, man. Okay.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I do. They're.
I know, and then I realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not giving him anything for being here, so I really have to respect whatever time he's working me in against real jobs. So
you at least gave Mo a piano. But now I don't. Now I don't see it anymore. Now I had
to remove the fake background. That was
gentlemen. These are wild times, and I'm going to start with the politics, okay? And then we'll get to Iran a little bit later. The politics involve something that has happened on the heels of the Mamdani-endorsed candidates doing well in New York. And the conversation that's followed, and I'm going to play you some stuff from Fox News Channel, which sort of suggests that the commies are being ushered in to America on the heels of the victories there and in the wave of progressivism that is overtaking the Democratic Party. Play a little bit of, this is Jesse Waters, cut 3. I'm going to let it run for a second. You're going to see Bernie Sanders and you're going to see James Carville, and then we'll talk on the other side.
All over this country is progressives are on the march. And I was just before I left the office, I saw Fox Television and their headlines, "The end of the world is coming. Progressives are winning elections. Socialism is taking over the world." Real panic.
Bernie watches Fox. What's up, Bernie? Come on the show. Finally, Sanders has an army, but Mamdani's commies are a whole new breed, and the establishment can't see it coming.
We talk a lot about the party being a big tent party, and we should be.
We are a big tent party. That's who we are.
One of the things that makes the Democratic Party great is it's a big tent party. We need to stay that way.
These people are fools. The tent's not big enough for both of them. When the commies come in, they're not going to share it. They're there to take you out. The communists are like parasites. They're going to use the Democratic Party to get ballot access, get elected, caucus with them when it works, and then suck them dry until they die. The party did it to themselves. They screwed up so badly and didn't deliver a damn thing when they had power that they had to play footsie with the commies to shore up their base. And now
just stop for a second. It's so funny when he I'll get back to it, but I'm sorry. I wanted to let it play through, and I will let it play through in a second. But guys, when they keep saying the commies, I feel like I'm in 1952 or something.
No, it's earlier today. President Eisenhower said he was coming on Fox.
It's so crazy to hear him. To dust off that term, it's so of another age. Go ahead, continue, please. I'm sorry.
Michael, sure, go ahead.
Brands in the toilet, and they opened the door just a crack, and danger walked right in. These people are cold-blooded revolutionaries who want to bury America. Bury it. Some Democrats get it.
Lady, I ain't in the same party as you. I'm sorry. They're just not. Everybody's always said, no, we're coalition, we're big tent. And there's just some that I can't be in the same tent with. These people do not like Democrats. Not only are they not Democrats, they wish Democrats poorly. But I'm done. I'm not in a political party.
The Cajun Paul Revere. But the commie wave is creating a lot of cowards. Anonymous D.C. executives are calling it an earthquake, but they won't go public. Phones are ringing off the hook with people asking, are we going to let them take over the party? Or are we going to stand up and fight back? That right there is the question.
All right, so that's a little bit of the way Fox News is reporting it. And again, replete with these invectives, it's just so bizarre. But it then gets to the question, how much of the election in New York, in those primaries in New York, how much of the agenda that's reflected by those candidates might get into the general discourse when it comes to the mainstream Democratic Party? I'll ask you, Michael Shure.
Well, listen, I mean, one of my idols in political commentary and reporting was a guy named Jack Germond, who never got really excited about all this stuff in the way that the pundits that we just saw there did. And James Carville's paid to do that, and Jesse Walters paid to do that. But the point is, this was, let's bring this down to what it really is. This was an election about aid to Israel and taking money from AIPAC in New York City, which is bright blue. It is not a nationwide wave of these kind of candidates winning. It's not to belittle the fact that Adriano Espaillat, who is the head of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, lost, nor is it that Dan Goldman, who is a very sort of wealthy and well-regarded member of Congress, that he lost. It's not about anti-Semitism either, that some people were trying to spin. Two of the winners were Jewish. So it's something that's in New York, and it, to me, rings as a single issue election in a place where the Jewish vote is very, very important. And they pushed back against what was the establishment AIPAC Jewish vote in New York, and that's how they won. Is it coming into the party from all sides? Well, so I would say Democratic Socialists are doing better. I think that message is doing better, and I do think shoring up your base, big tent or not, is important, especially if you're losing Latinos in the Rio Grande Valley and you're losing Latinos in parts of Florida. You do want to go after some of these voters and embrace some of what Bernie Sanders' message was. But I do think that if were it not for the issue of Israel and the issue of aid to Israel and the issue of the influence of AIPAC, I think Adriano Espaillat wins re-election the other day, and I think perhaps Dan Goldman does, or maybe Michael Asher can't run against him. I'm not alarmed by this, and I know people are, but I'm not.
Mo, that is true. I want to hear your general thoughts, but it is true that the AIPAC component, once powerful, all of a sudden became like, it had 10-foot pole marks all over it. No one wanted to have that AIPAC association.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the politics of the moment and the evolving platform politics of the Democratic Party. But I don't know if that's going to be the continuing theme long term. Now, there's going to have to be some sort of reset as far as the perception of Israel and also Israel's interests within the Democratic Party as it puts its platform together. And AIPAC is a convenient, my word, boogeyman in regard to that, but it's much more complicated than that. Now, you originally asked me about the politics of the Democratic Socialists. I think there's a political question, and there's also a cultural question. The political question is whether the Democrats are right in allowing themselves to be defined by those outside the party. Now, Democratic Socialists obviously have done well in New York with Mamdani. There's Nithya Raman here in Los Angeles, who has an outside chance to become mayor, who is a outspoken Democratic Socialist. But I don't know if politically those types of advances work across the fullness of the Democratic Party, to which James Carville was talking about. I personally believe, in a political sense, the Democrats are leaving themselves open to be defined by folks like Jesse Waters and those who don't understand the subtle distinctions between Democratic Socialists and also the Democratic Party, and how people don't understand what socialism means generally or communism means generally. So they understand how ridiculous someone like Jesse Waters sounds, because I believe most of America is ignorant and does not understand what socialism is as an economic system versus a governmental system, or communism as an economic system versus a governmental system, or that we have a blended economy, or Norway as a socialist economy is different from Venezuela as a socialist government and economic platform. My point is the Democrats, I think, are making a mistake when they include the word socialism into the public discourse with a largely ignorant political base.
I'm smiling because you're so right on. I think that's a perfect summary of where we are. And then, yeah, go ahead.
Can I add before your next question, Mark? Because I want to add to what Mo's saying and talk about Carville a little bit too. I mean, the notion of letting people define the Democratic Party has been a really difficult thing about being a Democrat, because Republicans, generally speaking, over the last 30, 40 years even, have marched in lockstep with one another. And where that tired metaphor of the big tent, right? I mean, maybe it's tired, but it's also true. You have pro-life Democrats and pro-choice Democrats. You have hawkish Democrats and dove-like Democrats. You have pro-gun and pro-gun control. It is much more difficult being a Democrat in terms of having to win in many different places than it is being a Republican, because your message is clear and synthesized. And then also, Republicans have done a great job with wedge issues, and this commie thing now. I don't know that it's going to have the traction of a wedge issue, because it is in one city. In San Francisco, the AOC's former chief of staff came in third in a congressional race in another very liberal city in the country. This is about the moment, as Mo just said perfectly. This is about the politics of the moment in New York. And yes, the Democrats are going to have to, as a party, look at these people and say, why are they running against the establishment? And yes, there are Democrats that are delighted to see Democrats lose, which is unfamiliar ground for them to be in. But I do think that this is, I wouldn't get alarmed by it if I were either a Democrat, and I wouldn't get too excited about it if I were a Republican. One person I think has to worry, and Mo alluded to this, is Karen Bass, right? I mean, this is the big city of Los Angeles. Mamdani's footprint in New York is huge now. It's maybe momentary, it may be enduring. We'll see. We'll see how he does as a mayor. But certainly, every race that he inserted himself into, his people won. The people that he endorsed won. Even when Adriano Espaillat, even though he came to it late, endorsed Mamdani for mayor, Mamdani went for somebody else, because this was a single issue. This was about money from AIPAC, money, tax-paying dollars going to fund the IDF, is basically how they synthesized it. And it worked, right? It worked the same way that Republicans are trying to get commies to work, the way they got open borders and gay marriage to work. This is how politics is now. I'm not alarmed.
Because you referenced the wedge issues, I think you're right in that the labels become generic and you can assign whatever kind of branding to them that you want. Mo, as I just mentioned, I think is right in that nobody really knows the distinctions and really what it is, and they kind of just glom on to the labeling. And so in that spirit, I wanted you to see this is cut to Laura Ingraham grabbing one of the wedge issues that she can then shoehorn into this branding of socialism, communists, lefties. Here's Laura Ingraham from last night.
Is who the Democrats and all the new socialist commies and all the runaway judges are protecting. They don't give a rat's you-know-what about you. They care about them.
Illegal
Remember,
immigrants.
they want no one deported. I don't care who we're talking about, murderers, rapists. They want no one deported ever. That's how radical they are. But litigating all these cases takes time and money. And the left, it seems like they have a bottomless trough of open borders cash to fund their lawsuits. But the administration, frankly, it's been up to its ears. It's done a great job, though. Just this week, 2 more outrageous district court rulings against immigration enforcement came down. Again, they were by Biden and Obama judges. Now, none of us can be here tonight on our 250th anniversary and forget what will happen if the Democrats get back in power.
A stunning scene more reminiscent of a third world country than the United States. Over 10,000 migrants are crammed underneath the international bridge here after crossing illegally into the United States.
Yeah, well, those are prospective Democrats, right? Look, the floodgates are going to be open again. But this time, they'll pack the court as well if they get back into power. Because they aren't getting the decisions they want out of this one. They got to expand the next one to what, 13, 17 justices? Democrats know this, that without millions of new indigent foreigners flooding the system who will then go to public schools and be indoctrinated there, their lousy ideas do not stand a chance. But thankfully, for now at least, we have a Supreme Court that has affirmed a president's constitutional and statutory authority to defend American sovereignty.
So there you have it. Again, you can see how it's the ramp up to what works. The demonization of these people, the long con, which is bring in these illegals, the these indigent people, they'll be Democratic voters. I mean, there's an absurdity to it.
They can't vote.
And they don't vote. They can't
Right.
and don't. I mean, you know, but that's the way it's being played out. That branding is already being assigned, Mo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beyond the branding. It's when I say it's political and cultural, that's the political calculation as far as how they're going to position Democrats, but there's also the cultural demagoguery, which extends beyond the politics and impacts real people, where you have brown people who are being swept up, who are actual citizens in the immigration raids. You know, you could talk about the politics of they're eating the cats and dogs, but culturally it impacts all the black people in that particular region, not just the ones who happen to be of Haitian descent. So those, the politics of the moment work to the next election, but the cultural underpinnings of Lee Atwater and the Southern strategy have been marching on since the late 1960s.
And you saw what Mike DeWine, the Republican governor of Ohio, said. He said, he said this is a huge mistake. I mean, Mike DeWine is a conservative Republican governor. He was a conservative senator. He was unwavering in his support of Trump. He said this is terrible for the country. This is un-American, and it's bad for Ohio. It's really bad for Ohio. I mean, Springfield, Ohio, lampooned by Trump during the last election, is home to thousands of Haitian immigrants who are part of the fabric of that city and state. And, they're now friends, colleagues, employees, employers. It's a terrible, terrible thing that's being done. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's a horrendous thing.
Yeah, if I could dovetail on that, what you were saying, Michael, and that goes back to how the Republican Party members, people in the South, have been voting against their interests for decades, but it's under this pretense that they're voting, they want to make sure that the other people, the brown people, the people who are coming to rob, rape, and steal, they don't get anything. And as long as the Republicans still fight that culture war, saying that we're going to get rid of the black and brown people, they will gladly vote for that, as opposed to worrying about the cost of living, the impossibility of just trying to pay for gas or lodging. They will vote against their interests if they feel that they're at least putting the screws to black and brown people.
The court does seem to be, the bigotry, the kind of old school bigotry that is informing or underpinning so many of these decisions. It's crazy. This was a real 1-2 punch this week on immigration. There was a judgment as well, just because we're talking about the courts. This happened, I believe it was a federal court that made the judgment ordering the Justice Department to release unredacted versions of several files on Jeffrey Epstein, or to explain why it can't release them. And this is Todd Blanche, who's kind of in the blender on this one, because this is the U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan giving the government until Thursday of next week to comply. This is 8 emails with either the sender or recipient blacked out. And the emails are really like creepy. They're about, I think, some kind of, like sex kink and that sort of thing. And as you know, there are troves of documents unreleased that are not going to be released, at least according to the acting attorney general.
Clarence Thomas is irate that he can't read the sex kink stuff. Unredact this.
Oh, I'm sure he has an unredacted copy at his house.
So there's also an order, just as a note, that the government must respect to release a log listing every redaction it has made to the files that it's published on Epstein already, as required by the law. That was demanded, by the legislation that passed, the release of the Epstein files. Just an interesting thing that kind of rocked Trump and this administration initially, and they've kind of tried to make it go away, and I'm wondering to what extent it might end up being front and center again. What do you think, Michael?
Look, it's going to be front and center, or it's going to be center, right? It won't always be front. It's background noise to everything that's going to happen between now and the election, and thereafter between now and the end of Trump's term. It's going to try and make him a lame duck before he's actually a full-on lame duck. But it does not obfuscate the importance of the immigration rulings, right? I mean, the court did this is fine. It's a technicality. It doesn't change anything. We don't know more yet about Epstein and Trump or anybody else. The most important thing is what happened policy-wise. The most important thing politically is the immigration stuff. And you saw Laura Ingraham showing those people coming across in September of 2021, and we all remember those images from under the bridge in Texas. But those are important images because they're going to be in every campaign ad you're going to see this fall, and the Democrats are going to have to push back against that. They're not. They can keep talking about Epstein, but they have to come up with curative measures and at least policy proposals to change these laws that were supported, or these rulings that were supported by the Supreme Court this week.
Mo?
I hope these Epstein emails are significant in some way, and significant beyond being just embarrassing, but they would have to be incriminating. They would have to move the needle for it to become front, to Michael's point, as opposed to just center. We've continued to talk about it, and I say we in terms of the nation. We're aware of it. We know that there are redacted forms and emails which have not been released. We know that the federal government has not released all of the associated documents in their possession, but we don't know whether there are going to be any consequences to non-compliance. And although I tend to be a little bit more cynical than most, I'm really cynical about this as far as whether this is going to actually move the meter or actually make some sort of major adjustment to what the Trump administration may do, because non-compliance is kind of their calling card. They didn't comply up until this point, so I have no reason to believe they're going to be compliant going forward.
It is true that, if there's no enforcement mechanism, they can just keep sort of shining this on, can't they? I mean, Michael, Mo's right. I mean, they really haven't necessarily, responded to every legislative or legal order.
No, they haven't. That's been the problem with the Trump. That was a problem in Trump 1. That's a problem in Trump 2. That's why he is a president that has put himself above the law. And with the minorities in the House right now, Democratic minority in the House and Senate, that's a problem, and that is why you're starting to hear Republicans, from Mike Johnson to the talking heads on Fox, say, "What are the Democrats going to do when they get here?" Laura Ingraham was saying something different, but she said they're going to expand the court. Mike Johnson is afraid that they are going to, and he's right, that everything is going to be investigations. Every committee is going to be doing investigations. That's what you push back politically in our governmental system on what Trump is doing. It may not be effective, but it is pushback.
Just on how quickly things cycle through the voracious appetite of the news cycle these days. Play cut 4 for these guys. It's a comment by J.D. Vance on Watergate and the fact that it would be not even a 24-hour story were it to break today. And then he goes on to suggest more. Go ahead.
If Watergate happened tomorrow, it would be like a 12-hour news story. Like, the idea that it would have taken down a presidency is crazy. And by the way, if you look at the story of how the deep state took down Richard Nixon, it's not all that different from what the same groups of people, the same institutions tried to do to Donald Trump in the first Trump administration. There is a parallel.
I mean, it's lunacy. Yeah. I mean, Watergate was an inflection moment for a criminal conspiracy. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, let Mo have this. I think he's chomping at the bit, but I'm going to come in right after.
Real quick, what he was saying was just completely ahistorical. I mean, it was the Republicans who went to the White House and said, Richard Nixon, you have to resign or you will be impeached and removed. It wasn't some deep state conspiracy. It was a slow moving conspiracy which unfolded over a period of time, thanks to the investigations of Woodward and Bernstein, and then the reticence of the president to release the actual audio tapes, and it had to go up to the Supreme Court and what have you. But it wasn't some deep state type of investigation. No, it's just ahistorical. And what bothered me that people were actually applauding in the background goes back to my point about Americans being largely ignorant of their own government, their own history.
Yeah, of course. And they're applauding the background there. They're at the Nixon Library in Yorba Linda, California. And that audience is going to applaud anybody who's rethinking Watergate. He talked about Watergate being nothing. Watergate was a cover-up. Watergate was a complete conspiracy. And of course it would be something. And the fact that he thinks it wouldn't is testament to the fact that he believes that they can do whatever they want because it's going to go away very quickly. And there's nothing wrong with doing things that are wrong. And yes, Mo's spot on. It was Republicans who the most famous, I think, line from Watergate is, what did the president know and when did he know it? That was Howard Baker, a Republican from Tennessee. I mean, there were Republicans going after a Republican president, which, man, if some of these Republicans had the balls to do that with this president, it would be a refreshing thing. So many believe. They don't until they lose. So now you see Bill Cassidy and Tom Tillis, who are lame duck senators, showing a little bit of strength because of that. But it would have been nice to have seen that a year and a half or 2 years ago or 6 years ago.
Just because you mentioned Cassidy, I guess even Cassidy caved after getting into a shouting match and having pushed back on the administration in terms of war powers. And then Trump, basically romanced Cassidy, took him to the White House. He's then briefed privately on the situation in Iran. Isn't that what happened, generally speaking, Michael? I think that basically and this is what the charm offensive, I'll just call it, with Cassidy was enough to get him to basically go back on his vote and then to support the president.
Yeah, I mean it's the power of the presidency, right? I mean, it's always there. We remember Howard Baker's line because it was one time in the last 50 years that somebody's done that, right? That's what makes it memorable. So it's not that this happens or it's commonplace in either party. Democrats don't do that to Bill Clinton or Barack Obama. It's very rare that you see that. So we remember it when it happens. And Cassidy is still a Republican senator from Louisiana. Maybe he wants to be a Republican governor from Louisiana. We don't know. Right. But the point is, the power of the presidency is very powerful. When you're in a room with the president, it does affect everybody who's in that room, even when it's this president. But these people are his acolytes, so it affects them even more.
Mo, I want to ask you about the Middle East for a moment, just as we wrap up here. It seems like Marco Rubio is now being called upon to sort of chill out the U.S. allies. Hey, everything's going to be fine. This was kind of a misstep. I have heard all the ways that the military move on the part of the Americans has been, recharacterized by Mike Johnson and others. They don't call it a war. They don't even call it an incursion. They don't call it a dalliance, but it's sort of like that. It's like words that sort of are adjacent to that. In any case, the U.S. allies, those who are traditionally in the last decade warmer to some kind of relationship with the U.S., the Emiratis, for example, the Omanis, they're nervous. And there's even suggestions that they're taking baby steps back from the Americans. How do you size up where we are in the Middle East right now?
A reasonable person can conclude that the Americans, from the outside looking in, are over-promising and under-delivering. They have had their George Bush mission accomplished speech, 7 or 8 times by now. They've said we've had this ceasefire, they've had this agreement, and none of it holds to be true. Even though the president will make these proclamations that Iran has no more military and they've been dominated in a military sense, that's not the case. And I believe, this is just my supposition, I don't have any data to support this, that since we are alone, America, without our traditional allies, the Middle Eastern allies in this particular situation are becoming are coming to realize that one, Iran is not as bad off as they may seem. They're getting ready to get some $400 billion out of this supposed deal, and they're not completely ineffective militarily. And if these other countries overcommit as far as to us, there's going to be longer term implications for the region that extend beyond Donald Trump, because we don't even know what Israel's role is going to play in this Middle East accord going forward. And if I'm Oman or Jordan or some other Middle Eastern nation, I'd have to be very cautious about where I would play my cards or align myself, with whom I would align myself, given the longer term implications of what this region may look like in just 5 months or 5 years.
Michael, a thought?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that we can't predict that region, right? I mean, we had the JCPOA 10 years ago, and everything has changed. Now everything's the same again, in a sense, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's just unpredictable. But the way that foreign policy has gone in this administration, in this second Trump administration, especially when it's been more acute, has been nothing. It's not been nothing more than disastrous as viewed from afar by other nations and leaders. The fact that Marco Rubio is being charged with doing it, to me, is fascinating, because I see a struggle between Vance and Rubio going toward 2028. And I think that they're both going to try and carve out territory. Vance is going to want Rubio to resign, as many do after elections or before. Many don't stay the whole 4 years. I think that that's a fascinating political soap opera that I'm more focused on, because I don't think anything that's happening today is going to be impactful in an enduring way because of this administration.
I'm way over time with you guys, so I had another cut to play for you, but I've got to wrap things. Thanks for awesome guests. My favorite trio says Maud Day. How about that? Right. With a $25 super chat, and that is a big
shout out.
My favorite trio was Genesis at the end of the after
you have it all here. No need for corporate media, says Maud Day. There you go, Maud. Thank you so much.
Thank
Maud.
you so much.
They are distinguished visitors,
and we do get Albert's breaking news, do we not?
You do. And Albert, I'm going to keep the boys on. Is that cool for your news? It's pretty.
It's
big.
very fit. Yeah, we'll keep the boys. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can keep the boys in, because me and my partner will be having a boy soon. And,
there it is.
Oh, fantastic.
You heard it.
Very
Albert
exciting.
is going to be welcoming in a baby boy. Wow.
I will be sending skates.
Thank you. Yes, I know. Perfect in time.
Albert, please don't name your son Morris. That's all I ask. Just in
Albert,
case
thank you.
Oh man, it's so exciting. It really is.
Perfect timing. The Sharks are good, so I'm glad my boy could see the Sharks being good for the next foreseeable future.
Fantastic. That's the best news we could have gotten.
It really is. It really is. Glad you guys could be part of it. The show gets its first baby. Very, very excited, and we'll keep you posted. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Until next time. Yeah. The wonderful Mo Kelly and Michael Shure. See you, kids. Great stuff.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I don't know, Albert. That's wonderful. Really wonderful. A lot of congratulations.
Really exciting.
A new fresh face, says Cameo. Exactly. That's right. The former fresh face yields to a real new fresh face.
We'll see if it holds up. The fresh face holds up through fatherhood.
No. No, the fresh face is on its way out.
I'm already, of course, Kim is really sorry that your baby can't arrive in time to vote for her for podcaster of the
yeah, it's a real
year.
bummer.
Yeah.
No, congratulations, Albert. Really,
what
really
is
nice.
the due date? Asks Mike in Willow Glen. Yeah.
December, sometime December 8th.
Yeah. And
A Christmas baby, just like Mark.
yeah, that's right. It's a good time to be born, particularly early in the month. That way you don't bump up against the Savior's birthday. You know what I mean? That's a little.
Yeah, that Jesus guy takes
It's
all
awkward,
the
and
attention.
he. I get it. Pretty great guy, but has ruined many a birthday because because he is a great guy, and a lot of people spend a lot of time talking about him and not your birthday. So I'm glad your guy is going to be earlier in the month, at least if everything follows schedule. I did want to mention Sweet One. Oh, let me just see this. I'm sorry. Citizen Morgan with a $10 super chat, which is always welcome. Thank you, Citizen Morgan.
Big shout out.
Congratulations to Albert as he adds to the Mark Thompson Show family. Yes,
Yay.
I agree.
Girl, you just woo.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a show baby shower? Maybe a baby countdown?
Like a countdown clock would be funny, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we will regularly check in on it. Maybe you on the award-winning after party live can get that going.
Who is having that conversation?
Well, I think they have it over there. Richard Delamater with a $5 super chat says, Albert, we will never forget the K-pop love that you brought to our lives.
It's true.
We will miss you, commish. I guess he's going away. It sounds like Richard didn't stick around for the actual announcement. He just assumed that you were leaving.
What? No. Are you kidding me?
Good luck, and maybe drop in as a guest sometime. Richard literally didn't listen to what the message was. So, Richard might be a good producer on this show because it's consistent with the kind of mediocrity that we have on this show. Yeah.
Stop that. That's not nice.
Oh, my God. That is pretty funny. December, it's a great month for a birthday, says Jane O. Indeed. I did want to mention that you can celebrate Albert's newborn. You can celebrate this special news with an order of Sweet 106 Bakery cupcakes. These are layered cupcakes. This is a small business. They are our partners, and we welcome them in. Christy, has won the only war that should ever be fought. The Cupcake War.
Look at that with the vanilla frosting and the chocolate chips.
Oh,
layered, gooey, yummy deliciousness.
Gooey. Get it all over yourself.
That's right.
Sweet106bakery.com.
Where did you go with that? I don't know.
Mark T at checkout for 15% off. There's so many delicious flavors. Oh, and they have a bunch of new flavors. That's my favorite. Okay, if I can just say, there's a double vanilla up there. I love double vanilla. And you get 15% off when you use our discount code MARKT. So pick out the canister that's best for you. It comes in these canisters, and then it's a layered cupcake. And I challenge you to only have one bite.
So
the
good.
Southern, that's Christie's Southern Red Velvet is pretty great also.
That's
I have
the
to
one,
say.
one of the ones that won the Cupcake Wars, the Southern Red Velvet. That's the winner.
Oh, man, it is great. Yeah. Christie's Southern Red Velvet, just one of them. Again, the Dubai chocolate, the Snickers.
My favorite one.
Sweet,
So
like a
good.
suite of rooms. If you're just
Little
listening, it's
crunch
sweet.
to it.
SUITE
Oh my
106bakery.com. Somebody peel Kim off the ceiling. Sweet106bakery.com. Use our discount code MARKT for 15% off. Sweet106bakery.com. All right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I hope my cupcakes get here soon, says Miss Organic, who's a member, a channel member. Your channel membership's available to you. You can join at the deep state level. You can join at the shadow cabinet level. It'll get you the backstage pre-show prep that we do. You can sit in with us once a week for that. And also it gets you free admission into our virtual meetups. We just did the June Swoon. There's one coming next month, I think, or in August, I think.
Wait, speaking of June Swoon, check this out.
I am a slacker, says Bo3670, with a $25 super chat. No one is a slacker with a $25 super
Big
chat.
shout out.
I am a slacker as it's taken me 2 weeks to thank you for a lovely June Swoon. Not on live much, but wanted to toss something into the tip jar. P.S. Thanks for taking the suggestion and getting JR on. Hope to see him again soon. Yeah, JR from TYT. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much. And everyone who has supported the show this week through Patreon, through PayPal, if you signed up, there are clicks under all our videos, and you can be part of the community that supports the show. Really, the only reason we're on the air is because of you guys. And super chatters and super stickerers, thank you as well. I'm going to give you the thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So Albert is eloping with the cupcake lady? No, that's not what the announcement was. Those who are late. Albert is having a baby. But Richard Delamater thought he was leaving the show, and he wished him well. Now he says that was a pre-announcement comment. I just assumed Albert was leaving the show. Well, yeah. Very, very good. I appreciate everything and everyone. And Albert, I'm just so excited for you. Can't even describe how excited I am. Now, without any further delay, although it's just so much fun to delay, especially knowing that Michael Snyder is waiting.
We have a Friday Fabulous Florida.
I know. I was just saying, though, it's without further delay that we have to do it. So this is a segment we brought over from the radio, and here it is, Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
Florida man attempting to pull off a rooftop burglary. It was in Fort Myers, a gas station. Ended up in a soggy situation as he jumped into a nearby pond to escape police. It happened on Alico Road at approximately 3 a.m. That's where all the good stuff goes down there at Super America gas station. And an employee monitoring surveillance cameras spotted a suspicious individual inside the closed business. I mean, I guess when there are individuals inside a closed business, it is suspicious. There is his booking picture if you want to rate it, which is something that the kids like to do. When deputies arrived at the scene just minutes after they were alerted to this, they quickly discovered that this was no ordinary burglary. The deputies launched a drone into the air to get a better look at the property, and that is when it was revealed that the suspect was still on the roof of the gas station. He was hiding behind an air conditioning unit in an apparent attempt to avoid detection. I mean, it's, it's a
wild idea, but it just might work.
Yeah, you can hide in behind that.
He's getting some high marks.
According to the sheriff's office, the suspect, realizing that he'd been spotted after orders to surrender were ignored, jumped from the roof and took off on foot, eventually running directly into a nearby pond in an effort to evade capture.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
I think we got a lot of wishes for gators in the pond. I mean, that would really clinch it.
Well, I don't know, but maybe. Unfortunately for him, this water didn't really slow down deputies. They'd seen the pond jump probably before. Criminals can run, hide, or even jump into a pond, said the sheriff, but they will not escape the Lee County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. Breaking into a gas station is not the way to make quick cash. It will only earn you a ride to the Marceno Motel. In this case, a quick deportation. Tough sheriff there. But the guy cut through the roof to gain access. I got to give the guy a lot of credit, Kim.
I don't know. That slit in the roof doesn't look very... I mean, it looks like you could cut yourself on the way in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the risk you take when you're breaking into a place. You know, you're not going in with a lock and key.
It's really amateur. It's not a professional roof hole.
Oh, well, you didn't... Kim feels that there's less and less quality roof cutting going on. But, yeah. They discovered cash, cigarettes, and a saw blade inside his pockets when they brought him in. They also discovered a bag that was left behind on the roof that contained additional cash, cigarettes, and stolen lottery tickets.
Oh, lottery tickets for the win.
Kim's already, all of a sudden, that's your dream man. All right. Meanwhile, in Naples, a Naples woman is accused of road rage. It involved biting and a physical altercation.
What?
Ooh.
The cops in Naples saying that Tabitha Towns is accused of starting a road rage altercation after claiming that another driver nearly crashed into her. Two people said that Towns reportedly slammed on her brakes twice while following them on the road, eventually leading them into a medical center parking lot. And that's when the action really got rough. Investigators saying that Towns was reaching through the open driver's window and punching one of the women in the face. The victims, speaking anonymously, described it this way. I got out of my car. I definitely defended myself. And then my sister tried to de-escalate the situation. Then she attacked me and my sister, and we had to defend ourselves against her. Apparently, all three women reported that they were in a wrestling throwdown in a grassy area. Officers later found braided hair, eyeglasses, and makeup items left behind during that struggle. It was pretty nasty. Officers saying that Towns drove away to another medical office nearby where they found her wearing scrubs covered in grass and admitting that she had been involved in a fight.
Is she a medical professional?
I guess she seems as though she had access to medical professional stuff.
She looks like someone's aunt, says John Slade.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that was not as their fault, but if someone's coming at you and they look angry, I don't think you get out of the car, let alone roll down the window.
Well, Kim, you've never been perhaps confronted there in your lily white world of suburban Petaluma where nothing ever happens. And
it's true.
Life's really good, and you just stand there and wait for your awards. The reality is that life can get pretty tough out there on the road. Sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I agree that you should try to de-escalate. You don't want to engage, but sometimes you have to. Meantime, a Broward woman wore disguises and took teaching exams for several educators. Wow. Cassandra Knowles, 37, has been taking exams in person for other people for $1,000 a throw.
Wait a minute. She's cheating for teachers?
Yeah, for 2 years.
But the teachers are the ones that say you're not supposed to cheat.
A Florida woman, this woman here, behind bars, accused of taking statewide teacher exams for several educators. She runs a tutoring business and has been taking the exams for people for $1,000 per test over the last 2 years.
You got to pay a little extra for the higher services.
3 of those teachers who hired her are from the Broward County Public Schools District. She fraudulently took tests for other people, and now there are teachers here in Broward County that have no business being in the classroom, says the Attorney General. They didn't get their proper certification. They've cheated, and they will pay for it. That's the quote from the Attorney General.
Good, great. She's amazing. I mean, I'm impressed that she can, that she gets such high marks.
Well, what you should be impressed with is not just her taking the test, but she put on disguises in each case to look like her customers. She changed her hair, her clothes, makeup to match the person for whom she was taking the test. In at least one case, she even dressed as a man to take an elementary education exam.
See, I don't know. I think that might stand out too much. That might have
I don't
been
know. I think you've got to go.
Far.
This is
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Is that why
it
she
worked
got,
for a while.
Is that why she got caught? When the disguises?
What's that?
Maybe the disguises are what pushed her over the line.
Yeah. It doesn't really say what gave her away, but they do say that she took exams for at least 8 people statewide, and the tests were taken in South Florida. She also took the GED and nursing exams for other people. Wow. Well, at least she's a good test taker.
She really
it's a skill.
She's got a wide breadth of knowledge. I love it.
And she's a master of disguise.
I'm bad. So, I'm sorry.
That is your list. We have to choose a favorite. We don't want to. It's in the bylaws, and so I'll review for you these magical stories. The Florida man who's jumping off the gas station roof after having broken in by cutting into the roof. Then he jumps into a pond, but the cops grabbed him, finding a plastic bag full of cigarettes, stolen lottery tickets, and cash. The Naples woman accused of road rage. She was biting and rolling around in the grass. A full-on physical altercation. And finally, the Broward woman who wore disguises and took teaching exams for several educators. We need to pick a favorite. This is a tough one because there are no reptiles in any of these stories. Kim, your favorite, please.
I like Teacher Cheater, but I have to go with the bitey lady. Biter.
Kim likes the biter.
Mm-hmm.
Albert, who is the Who's the leader in the?
It's looking a little half and half with the teacher and the guy who is trying to escape through the pond. But I think the teacher is taking it.
The teacher edging out pond guy. You can vote in After Hours Trading there on YouTube and in the comments section whenever you see this show. That is Friday Fabulous Florida.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We cruise on, and by the way, just want to toast to all of you with my Coachella Valley coffee, which is perfect today. Some days it just really depends on the humidity and the... Coachella Valley coffee, best coffee and tea you'll ever taste. There's spices there as well. Check them out. Tasting profiles under all of the beans. Everything there, curated by hand, roasted by hand. Coachella Valley coffee, just part of the magic of that small business. They've been with us since the beginning. So impressive. And I was drinking their coffee before they ever were on the show. The cold brew is terrific, by the way. We drank a bunch of it last summer, and you should jump on it this week. It's not just cold coffee. It has a different, wonderful taste. There's some great taste experiences here. So knock around on the website, see what you like, and then, get whatever amount you feel is most economical. Sometimes, like if you get more of something, if you try a pound of something, you like it, it's more economical to get 2 pounds of it. However much you get, whatever you get 10% off by using our discount code. So it's CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. The discount code is MarkT. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. MarkT at checkout.
Put that coffee down.
You will love it, as do we. So, all right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We've done a lot today, including the major announcement that Albert's having a baby. Hard to follow that. Hard to follow Florida. But there's one man who can do it. He is someone who watches movies, streaming, music. We call him the Culture Blaster for a reason. He is remarkable, and he comes and goes on a rainbow. Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster, everybody. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Mark. Hello, Kim. And I have to say, it would be just another nightmarish day in Trumpistan if not for this good news about Albert and his significant other having a blessed event, as we say. Congratulations to both of them. Very exciting, right?
Very sweet. And we love the show's first baby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. And hey, speaking of the Manchurian cantaloupe, and I hesitate to do so, but I hear that Donald Trump's latest shameless marketing scheme is Trump melatonin. And his pitches, you've seen how well it works for me at cabinet meetings, international summits, and Knicks games. Now you can try Trump melatonin and get a good night's sleep all day long, wherever you are.
He does like to get his rest. You are right about that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm in San Francisco, and it's Pride weekend, so there'll be a big parade on Sunday. There's a forever Grateful Dead art show at the Haight Street Arts Center. How San Franciscan can you get? But I also want to point out, before we get to the movies, that in Los Angeles on Saturday night, KP Projects Art Gallery has an all-female group art show that looks absolutely tremendous, and I'm thrilled that the Constellation Club at the Formosa is back for its 4th anniversary party, hosted as ever by DJs Curtis and Olivia. If I was in LA this weekend, I would be there. I hope to be back next week, but in the meantime, shall we get to the movies?
Yeah, that's great, though. Thank you for that little lineup for the weekend. Looks like it's going to be a good one, but yes, please.
We got to kick off with Supergirl. Adapting the basics of an 8-issue miniseries called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which was written by Tom King with beautiful art by Bilquis Evely. Supergirl is the second official feature film in the revised DC Comics cinematic movie and TV universe, which was taken over by James Gunn, the filmmaker behind Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel and DC Suicide Squad. And this movie comes after his reintroduction of the Man of Steel himself, Superman, in last year's Superman film, which, as a precursor to Supergirl, featured an end-of-credits cameo by actress Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon and Sirens as a drunk and mildly belligerent Supergirl. And Alcock, I say, she's the best thing about Supergirl, which, when it works, is as entertainingly scruffy and messy as her portrayal of the title character, who is Superman's cousin Kara Zor-El, who is also the only other survivor of the doomed planet Krypton that we know of, other than her pet Crypto the Super Dog, who shows up on Earth in a capsule along with Kara. And I have to say that Crypto is like Kara, kind of a loose cannon with amazing powers. And those powers are the likes of which that Kara can't get drunk unless she's under the rays of a red sun, which saps those powers as it does for Superman. And we encounter her in a red sun solar system on a planet where she's busy getting drunk. And it's her birthday. Apparently, she has issues, and those issues are probably directly related to the fact of her origin. Unlike Superman, who lands on Earth as an infant and is raised by a kindly Kansan couple, Supergirl has seen the planet fall apart. Her parents die and has a lot of trauma that's related to that. And, you know, they kind of need to include that backstory in this movie to explain her angst and her self-destructive behavior and her initial disregard for helping people. And those bits of her origin are kind of gratuitously cut into the basic plot of Woman of Tomorrow. And the end result is kind of an interstellar Western that seems to be as influenced by True Grit as it is by Star Wars and Mad Max. Eve Ridley, a young actress, plays Ruthie, a kid seeking revenge for the violent actions of a boilerplate sci-fi thug. Krem of the Yellow Hills, kind of an underwhelming villain played by German actor Matthias Schoenertz, and also added to the mix, not originally in the miniseries Woman of Tomorrow, but actually quite good as alien bounty hunter Lobo, is Jason Momoa. And Lobo is this indestructible Wolverine type on a space-traversing rocket-powered motorcycle. And this is a role much more suited to him than the version of Aquaman he played in a previous DC cinematic universe. Anyway, my point is that there are kind of good things about this, and they mostly revolve around the performance by Millie Alcock. And, you know, you can get why she's the way she is. And we've never seen a Supergirl like this. She's always been kind of this wholesome individual like Melissa Benoist in the Supergirl miniseries on TV or the ongoing series. And this is actually a little more interesting, to be honest with you. And it's directed by Craig Gillespie, who did
I've never seen anything like it.
Sorry?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't. Oh, you interrupted me with a drop. Okay.
Yes, I did. Exactly.
I've got to say that
I was helping.
It's interesting to note that the director, Craig Gillespie, did I, Tonya and Cruella. So he's really at home with unhinged women. And it doesn't all hang together, but it's hard not to embrace Alcock's Kara and her wild pup Crypto. I give a tentative positive to Supergirl. And, you know, again, maybe
I mean, I don't watch this stuff, so you can tell me. I mean, I don't mean it in any kind of way that I'm like too hip for it. I'm just or like, you know, like it's just beneath me or whatever. I just never really vibe with this particular stuff, but I appreciate it. And I guess what I'm asking, that's my preamble to the question, which is, has there been in this world of comic book heroes a kind of troubled protagonist like this? Like she's got seriously a drinking problem that's explained by her trauma. Is that something that is soil that's been tilled before, or is that new?
Not really. I would say that kind of an anti-hero like Wolverine or like this character Lobo that has been grafted onto the Woman of Tomorrow plot.
I see.
They're kind of, outliers, and so is she. And I think it's kind of an interesting tack to take, and it makes it more interesting for me than seeing again the wholesome naif that was originally how Supergirl was conceived in the late 50s when she was introduced. She was, just a wholesome teenage girl that has superpowers.
Ranting teacher Lori says if Jason Momoa is in it, not as Aquaman, I must watch when it streams. Plus, I love the idea of a drunk, angsty Supergirl. That is the intriguing thing to me too. I must say, it sounds to me like this is sort of a C+ review, maybe B-.
I'll give it a B- because again, I read Woman of Tomorrow and they drop a few things out and they add a few things here and there. And I understand the need to give her context with her origin and the tragedy of losing her parents. When Krypton exploded, apparently a piece of the planet was flung out and the survivors clung to it. And eventually they die. But she's sent by her father and mom. And by the way, her father's played by David Krumholtz. And there are some lovely scenes between her and between her and her dad, but also between her and David Cornenswet, who plays Superman. We see again her arrival on Earth, and there's a few moments that are nice. And again, this is a different approach to the kind of character that we're used to, being wholesome and decent and upstanding. And there's character growth over the course of the film. So
Yeah,
I will
that's
give it a
intriguing.
tentative recommendation.
All right, Culture Blaster, a tentative endorsement. Please move on.
I shall. Let's talk about something I can wholeheartedly endorse: The Invite, a misbegotten dinner party at a nicely furnished San Francisco flat goes off the rails in The Invite, which is director and actress Olivia Wilde's smart, darkly funny, and eventually wrenching adaptation of the Spanish film The People Upstairs. And this is about two couples getting to know one another at this dinner party, and perhaps intimately, and perhaps to their mutual detriment. And the cast, unimpeachably good. Upstairs neighbors Pina and Hawk, a therapist and a masseur, played by Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton, make a lot of noise during moments of intimacy. And it's been gnawing at the downstairs neighbors, Joe and Angela, a music teacher and a housewife played by Seth Rogen and Wilde. So Joe and Angela have a tween daughter, and they are experiencing marital troubles, while Pina and Hawk seem as if they have a healthy relationship. And since the daughter is at a sleepover, Angela tells Joe that she has invited Pina and Hawk to an impromptu dinner in an attempt to get to know them better. And this is against Joe's wishes. He really has resented these people because of the noise they make and, for various other reasons. And the whole affair, the dinner party, becomes increasingly contentious until it takes this really unexpected turn. So imagine if Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf was rewritten by Pedro Almodovar and Judd Apatow, and you'd have some idea of what The Invite is like.
Wow.
The script here is by Will McCormick and Rashida Jones. Yes, that Rashida Jones, the actress. And it snaps. And the foursome of actors attack it and one another with genuine gusto. Wilde, Rogen, Cruz, and Norton are the only actors in the movie, and they are uniformly excellent. And Wilde keeps all of this hurtling forward with great panache. Plus, her comedic chops are considerable. We don't see them that often, and they are considerable here, especially when Angela is sniping at the slovenly and whining Joe, played by Rogen. I really liked The Invite. It's in select Los Angeles and New York City theaters this weekend, and it is opening wider next Friday.
Wow. Very, very good. A hearty endorsement for The Invite. Please continue, oh great Culture Blaster.
Okay, let's move on to Couture, which is written and directed by Alice Vinecar, who is, I believe, a French filmmaker. And it is a look at the machinations behind Fashion Week in the City of Light, Paris, through the experiences of a fledgling African model, a young French designer / seamstress, and an American filmmaker hired to provide audio-visual magic to this kickoff runway event for Fashion Week. And the fact that Angelina Jolie is playing Maxine, the filmmaker, who has to confront a very wrenching issue in the middle of her location shoot, may explain why she's the most impactful part of the movie. And I mean, that's even with the presence of the sullen French leading man, Louis Garrel, as her cinematographer and somewhat love interest. They all sort of fade into the background when Jolie is on screen. As for the rest of Couture, it really doesn't tell us much new or thrilling about the fashion industry that hasn't been revealed in greater depth in other movies. Ada, the African model, played by an Ernest Anier Ane, is tapped to be the central figure in Maxine's film, and she's trying to acclimate to this new world that she's trying to conquer. And the seamstress has to recut and resew the dress Ada is going to wear for the film, and that's about it. I mean, this is interesting. Particularly if fashion is a passion, but it is not compelling other than Jolie's performance. Couture is primarily in French and English with subtitles when necessary. It's in select theaters. This is one of those not terrible. Michael Snyder, The Mark Thompson Show.
So far we've had a B minus, a full embracing at the A level, and a
I'd call it a C. I'd call it a C.
Okay, a C on Couture. What's next, our great culture blaster?
The Get Out. The Get Out is a workmanlike crime drama about an aging nightclub owner in Los Angeles who launders money for the cartels and wants out. A robbery, unfortunately, puts him behind the eight ball with the gangsters that use his club to move their cash, and he has to figure a way to cover his ass in order to retire and get away with his girlfriend, thus the title, The Get Out. It kind of helps that Marco, the club owner, is played by Russell Crowe, albeit with an Albanian accent that he may have borrowed from Boris Badenov from the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons. And look, Crow is always fun to watch. And his girlfriend is played by his fellow Aussie, Teresa Palmer, who is solid in a small role. She's much younger than him, but clearly they love one another. And Aaron Paul, a favorite from Breaking Bad and Westworld, and Nina Dobrev are kind of diverting as a reluctant robber and his whacked out partner. Finally, Luke Evans is also here as this well-financed guy who wants to acquire the club from Marco for questionable reasons, thus offering the club owner a way out. But can he take it? What are the criminals going to do to block his departure? Anyway, director and co-screenwriter Derek Borte has made a kind of familiar sort of movie that doesn't particularly stand out. But Crow, Paul, and Dobrev in particular are fun to watch if you have some time to waste. Otherwise, The Get Out is in select theaters.
Wow. All right. What else do you have for us, oh great, to Culture Blaster?
Well, I know you like a true story and a movie that's based on a true story. And Lucky Strike is one of those films. It's another middling effort that doesn't attain the heights of so many previous World War II movies, but it did kind of catch me up into the story while I watched it. I just left feeling like, I don't know. Anyway, Scott Eastwood, Clint's boy, plays the lead here. Colin Hanks, Tom's boy, plays his superior officer. Two guys born into movie careers. I mean, talk about lucky strikes. Man. Anyway, the Colin Hanks role is a small one. Essentially, this focuses on Eastwood's character, who is, I guess, a soldier trapped behind enemy lines during the last major German offensive during World War II. All he has is this radio with him, and he's constantly radioing back to headquarters, trying to figure out a way out of his predicament. And he encounters Nazis, he encounters locals that are going to be victimized by the Nazis, and he's got to do whatever he has in his power to get back and get safe. And again, it's near the end of the war, so the clock is ticking. And there are moments that I found kind of intriguing. The director is Rod Lurie, who Rod Lurie's an old hand at this sort of thing.
He's a very dear friend of mine, actually, and I can't wait to see the movie. Yeah,
it's solid in its storytelling. But maybe I wasn't crazy about the script. Nonetheless, I mean, if you are interested in World War II stories, this is one I had never heard of, and it has a certain appeal to it because, again, he is a craftsman-like director, Rod Lurie, and I mean, I'm not going to diss it. I'm just going to say, for what it is, it's pretty solid. It's in select theaters, and I believe you can see it in Los Angeles if you want to support your pal.
Yeah, I'm going to actually buy tickets. I really want to see it. He's really talented, I think. And I don't know. I don't know about this material and whatever. It seems intriguing to me. And I guess you were intrigued for a time that you were wrapped up in the story. So
yeah,
so there's that. Yeah,
it gets a little heavy-handed at the end, and there is an interesting flash forward with a woman who may have been inadvertently responsible for keeping our lead character safe.
That's interesting.
She's played by the great actress Ingenue Ellis-Taylor. Let's move on.
Stay till the end. Yeah. What else do you have, a great culture blaster?
I want to tell you something about a Netflix movie that dropped last weekend, and I didn't have time to see it before last weekend's segment, but I will say it. I love this film. It's called Voicemails for Isabel, and I'm kind of an old softy at times, and like The Invite, Voicemails for Isabel is set in San Francisco, although there are sequences in Austin, Texas. But Voicemails for Isabel takes much more advantage of scenic San Francisco in this very sweet romantic comedy. It's about a young woman who's in the food preparation business. She's studying under an arrogant chef, Chef Bastien, in San Francisco. She's from the Austin area, and she's dealing with the death of her sister. And the way she's dealing with it is by leaving voicemails on her sister's phone and kind of spilling out her guts in every voicemail. But what has happened is the phone number has been switched in the aftermath of the sister's death to a young man in Austin who's a real estate agent, and he hears them and he kind of decides that he's going to seek this woman out. He falls in love with her voicemails to her late sister. And this is a very well-written script by Leah McKendrick, who also directed it and appears as one of the real estate agent's friends in Austin. And it could have sunk into schmaltz, and it really doesn't. And a lot of it is on how well-written it is and how well-chosen the leads are. Zoe Deutsch, who again is another legacy kid, she's the daughter of director Howard Deutsch and actress Leah Thompson. She's wonderful in this as Jill, who is still dealing with the loss of her sister. And Nick Robinson plays Wes, and they have a wonderful chemistry together. And considering the death that triggers the story, this could have been a downer. It is not. And we also get the extra added attraction of the great Nick Offerman playing the a-hole chef Bastien in San Francisco. I loved Voicemails for Isabel. Let's put it
I also love this movie, and it's streaming on Netflix. And it's one of those movies where you laugh and you cry, and it's just really good.
I am so glad you saw it and agree with me, Kim. I was going to say, if you haven't seen it, this is the movie for you, Kim McAllister.
Loved this movie. And it wasn't your typical, as you say, kind of schmaltzy romance. There was some substance to this one.
Right. And if you've seen Zoe Deutsch in some of her various performances, she was in Everybody Wants Some, which is a wonderful movie by the director Richard Linklater that kind of fell through the cracks a number of years ago. And she's done a lot of other stuff. I don't care what her origins are. She's got skill. She's got charm. She does a beautiful job here. And again, I really thoroughly enjoyed Voicemails for Isabel.
Yeah, I mean, her origins actually could help inform a more skilled career. I mean, my God, she's grown up in the surrounded by those who are of cinematic excellence. Really interesting. I'm now intrigued. So very cool.
You and Courtney can watch it at home, and you can kind of pine away for the beauty of San Francisco while you do.
Love it. You have one more for us, a great culture blaster?
I do have a TV series I've been watching that has been rocking my world. It's a mix of violent crime and kind of dark comedy, and it stars the always excellent Tatiana Maslany, who won an Emmy for her portrayal of multiple clones in the TV series Orphan Black and appeared as an Amy Semple McPherson type evangelist in the Perry Mason miniseries. She's always good. And here in Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, this Apple TV series, she plays a newly divorced woman named Paula who has been engaging with a cam sex worker as a way to while away her time now that she's a solo mom, not in front of her child, of course. And as she's watching this cam performer on her laptop, he is apparently strangled or dragged away, kidnapped. Something awful's happening to him, and she receives a message saying she has to give money or he'll die. And this is what triggers this entire series, but it goes in all these different directions. You have no expectations of it going. Great supporting work. The director, David Gordon Green, has done some really cool films, and the supporting cast is really terrific, including Jake Johnson, who was one of the roommates on New Girl with Zooey Deschanel. He plays the Paula character's estranged husband who has moved on with another woman. And you also get one of my favorite actors, a guy who has done amazing work on television and film. Murray Bartlett plays kind of a sinister character who's manipulating things behind the scenes. I thought Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed was a hoot, and it isn't quite over yet, but you can watch it on Apple TV, and I think the last episode or two will be dropping over the next couple of weeks. Hi,
Very
Mark.
good, Culture Blaster. Really liked Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, as you just heard. He also really liked Voicemails for Isabel, set in San Francisco. The sweet romantic comedy could have become kind of pablum, but instead it's elevated to a high level. And it seems like a really inventive story. Voicemails for Isabel is on Netflix. Lucky Strike is the war movie, a soldier trapped behind enemy lines at the end of World War II. It stars Scott Eastwood and Colin Hanks, and it's directed by friend of Mark Thompson, Rod Lurie. Michael liked it. He wasn't over the moon for it, but did get into it, liked it. I love it. Haven't seen it yet, but I already love it. It's Lucky Strike, and it's in theaters now. The Get Out is the crime drama. The restaurant owner who wants out from the gangsters he's become part of. Russell Crowe with an Albanian accent. Girlfriend played by Teresa Palmer. Aaron Paul is in it. Luke Evans is in it. The Get Out. Michael liked it. My impression was you gave that about a B.
Yeah, B minus. Again, it's not great. There are other movies like it that we've seen before that are better, but I was so gleeful watching Crow and Aaron Paul, and that was enough to kind of keep me engaged.
What other movies like it that would you recommend?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of, I want to get out, but they keep pulling me back in.
Right, there is that.
This is another one.
What was the one with Ben Kingsley and where he comes back and it's Australia, I think, and he's pulling the guy back?
No, it's not. It's a British film, and God, it's great. It's one of the most villainous turns in Kingsley's career.
Yeah,
and it is a
Sex Monster or something. It's called. What was it? No.
It's called. Something like Scary Monster or whatever. I can't remember the title.
Sex Monster is my
I mean, I am Wikipedia, but the database is corrupted, Mark.
I get okay. Anyway, somebody in the chat will tell us. Couture is the Angelina Jolie movie. She plays a filmmaker there. Michael said it was okay. I mean, he didn't. It sounds like you didn't find it was dreamy, but
no, it's not quite as good as numerous other films about the fashion industry, but Angelina Jolie is really, really good in it.
She's really, really good in everything, I think. Really talented. Couture is the name of that film. The Invite is the adaptation of the Spanish film People Upstairs. Penelope Cruz, Edward Norton, Olivia Wilde, and Seth Rogen. Michael really likes this movie. This is kind of the pick of the litter, it seemed to me, maybe with Voicemails for Isabel being in there as well. And The Invite has a lot of surprises. It has great acting. My sense was it was really a tight film. Michael, as I say, really liked it. The Invite is in theaters, and Supergirl is how we started. The only other survivor from Krypton besides Superman is Supergirl. She arrived with Crypto the dog onto the Red Sun solar system, which is kind of the solar system hosting her drinking problem, from what I could get.
So a red sun. Krypton was under a red sun. It saps their powers. A
I
yellow
see.
sun restores them.
So where did she end up? In a yellow sun or red sun?
Well, no, she lands on Earth, but she doesn't fit in. And for her birthday, she decides to get drunk, and she can't under a yellow sun. So she takes a little ship and her dog, Crypto, to a red sun planet where
I
she can
see.
actually feel the effects of alcohol.
Wow,
And-
that is real commitment to getting drunk.
and in the process, she witnesses this girl Ruthie experiencing incredible trauma at the hands of this kind of villainous type, and this trauma also impacts Supergirl in a way I don't want to say, because I'll only say, remember the National Lampoon cover that says "Buy this issue or we'll shoot this dog."
Yeah.
I just want to remind you that Kara, Supergirl, is traveling with Crypto. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Very, very good. Michael talks about Supergirl. It's available in IMAX if you want to go see it that way as well. Michael, you had a question here from the assembled masses. Let me quickly ask you that question. I'll try again, says Marshall Fish. Michael, have you seen the new Earth, Wind, and Fire HBO doc directed by Questlove, or the new docs on Peter Asher and Peter Frampton?
I have seen none of them, but as Mark knows, I have a weird connection to Earth, Wind, and Fire, because both Allie Willis and I have worked with, the late Allie Willis, your friend, have worked with Maurice White on songwriting stuff, and he was the leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire. But, that's a story for another time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, well, you'll check it out. I've heard good things as well. I watched the beginning of it, but I haven't seen it.
With my connection to Maurice White, I really should watch it. I'll put it high in the queue.
Yeah. Michael, you've been dreamy today. You can read Michael, and if you like listening to Michael, you'll love reading him even more. I find it and indeed a pleasure to read his stuff. You can find it at thevoicesf.org. The Voice SF.
My current column is an in-depth look at Toy Story 5 from Pixar, and a little bit about Pixar's history.
TheVoiceSF.org. Find Michael Snyder there, and here on Fridays, he comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
So long, everybody. See you in L.A.
Yeah, see you back down in Los Angeles soon. Well, we're about out of time. We've covered a lot. Let me quickly get through some comments.
Your comments.
Yeah, can we put them up there, Kim? Or are you too busy campaigning for Podcaster of the Year? Wes in Florida, who's a channel member. Thank you, Wes. Did Mark ever receive the 3D printed Tony Award, the Tony pinball statue? No, I didn't. I mean, did you send it? I think we gave you an address to send it.
Yeah,
so
it's on the way.
I'll be over there at iHeart on Monday. So if it arrived like sometime between Monday and now, then I wouldn't have gotten it. So I'll get it Monday. But thank you. I'm excited. We will share it with the audience next week. Mark is inspiring me to vote for Kim another 300 times this weekend. I told Kim it would work. Yeah. Luis.
Big shout out
to Luis. Sal the Shoemaker says, Mark, maybe Kim will gift you the award like Trump with his secondhand Nobel Prize. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Maybe one of those FIFA awards. FIFA's very in the news.
Yeah, that's right.
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box, and Little Anthony.
Has ways to make stuff happen. Kim gets a shout out from Luis. When Kim wins Audiocaster of the Century, will Mark pull a Trump and take it from her for safekeeping and put it on his put it on his shelf next to the mugs? Yeah, I love that idea. I mean,
shout out.
I think it's
Are there some Emmys back there behind you?
Those are golden mics.
Oh.
I do have Emmys. I have 2 Emmys, but they're not behind me.
Where are they?
They are, I don't know. I think they're in the closet.
Oh, Can we pull those out and get them on the shelf?
Well, I don't. This is related to speaking, which is why I thought maybe they would be more applicable. I actually wasn't going to put anything up there, and then I see everybody's got like awards up. I think, oh, I've got awards. I should put them up there. So maybe you're right. I should put the Emmys up there too. Yvonne Beachbody says, Mark, you had on the author of the book, Love Johnny Carson. I've been listening to it on audio between other things that are more recent that are not on request. It's a really good book, very detailed. Yeah, the Johnny Carson stuff is interesting because it also is a window on a time, on the culture, really terrific that you picked up on the book after seeing him here. Luis, amazing how moron Waters and Fox and friends toss incendiary terms and conspiracies, but if you draw historical parallels between Trump and Hitler, they freak out. Yeah, if you draw historical parallels between Trump and any fascistic leader, they freak out. It's, but man, I'll tell you, the name calling is sick. I didn't even have time for the one name call I wanted. Maybe I can run it now. The poor Kim's got to go meet with Tim Sika, but Kim got this from, hang on a second. Fox's paranoia is mind-boggling. They seem panicked, says Debbie. Yeah, they are losing altitude. Thank you for the $5 super chat, by the way.
Big shout out.
Debbie, thank you. Kathleen Bryant with a $20 super sticker. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much. Really,
much.
Kathleen, that's really the point. It's your generosity, and I appreciate it. Citizen Morgan, similarly, $5 super sticker.
Big shout out.
Come on. Stick that super, baby. Thank you. Very, very cool, Citizen Morgan. CC Ryder says, with a $10 super chat, I guess JD missed the Nixon Library tour with the smoking gun tape that captured Nixon and Haldeman discussing, Chief of Staff Haldeman, discussing plans to use CIA to obstruct Watergate break-in, proving Nixon's involvement in the cover-up. That's what I was talking about. It's like a major criminal conspiracy. The fact that he's got, it would just take 12 hours of the news cycle now. It would be no big deal. Thank you, CC Ryder. You're
compared
right.
To what they've got, compared to what they've got going on in the White House, maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal.
Right. It might seem quaint,
Yeah.
but man, it was significant. Congratulations to the commish, says Luis. You have exceeded your low bar expectations yet again. Best wishes, Albert, says Luis.
Thank you, Luis. That's from a Dodgers fan, so I'll take it.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Big Giants fan.
A lot of love for Albert, and the newborn baby will be with us in December. Dan Silva, come on with a couple of bucks for the show. Thank you, Dan. Lucy McAllister says, go, Kim. Lucy is a channel member.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Big shout out.
And $20 super chat saying, go, Kim. Kim is absolutely on track to win the Bay Area audio caster of the year.
Girl, you just woo.
Yeah. Pretty tough competition, but she's number 2 right now. And you can vote as many times as you want. And some people, it would seem, based on the numbers, do nothing all day but vote for Kim.
That's right. I know it's you. I know it's you, Mark. I know it's you.
I may begin a shadow campaign for Johnny Rivers, who is very much in the hunt also. There he is. Look at Kim McAllister, the After Party Live. So you're really getting in on the podcast, the After Party Live. Wow.
Yeah. Then you can go and see the results.
Very cool. So is it hard to vote or not?
No, you don't even have to enter your email address, and you can
you
vote
just
as many
did it?
times
Did you
as
just
you
do
want.
it right then, Albert? Oh,
Yeah.
you just
I
did
just
it.
voted.
Wow.
Thanks, Albert. Thanks for the vote.
How many votes behind is she? 3,000? That's
Probably
nothing.
about 3,000.
29% to 31%.
I'm waiting for those people in the comments saying that 11,000 whatever Trump was trying to get. There's the guys who always mention that in the chat.
11,780. Yeah.
Yeah, 11,780. There you go. I think we should stop the count right now. Don't you agree? Just call it for whoever's ahead right now.
Stop the steal. Yep.
Stop the steal. Yeah. Congrats to Albert and his significant other, says Susan Roberts. Nice to hear some happy news. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you
Big
for
shout
the
out.
super chat. Stop slobbering all over the cupcakes and hit the like button. I haven't asked anybody to hit the like button today, and now I'm down to the end of the audience. It's only the diehards. They probably already hit it.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
Kim, if you want me to vote for you, you need to do things like remind me to smash the like button. You know,
I
to ask
did.
for it.
I put another one about the like button earlier in the show.
You
so
put it in the rundown. It doesn't
I
help
blame
you.
you.
Yeah, well, you can blame me, Kim.
I blame you.
I know you blame other people for all the time for everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know, Kim. I think you're an okay broadcaster. I don't know. I wouldn't vote for you to be the best of, I don't know.
Audio
But
caster to you.
whatever, audio caster, whatever, they made up a category. The whole thing is ridiculous. God. I don't know. I wouldn't vote for any of these other people either. So,
Vote early, vote often. There you go.
Yeah, there you
4
go.
more days left to vote.
Kim and a bunch of other people that didn't even ask to be part of it. Right? You didn't enroll yourself in this, right? Did you apply to be in it?
No, I did not apply. I was nominated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Seems to be working out for you.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Yeah. Don't
even play.
Yeah.
I was nominated by a former coworker, actually, Clark Reed.
Who was it?
Clark Reed.
Oh,
from
Clark
KGO.
Reed.
Yeah.
Is he on your show?
No.
Oh, wow.
He's
Clark
doing
Reed.
doesn't he do his own technology report?
Yeah, he
he's
does
got
a tech report.
Yeah,
tech report.
Clark Reed, I think something happened. I want to remember this kind of correctly, but I want to say it was like a year ago. And I said, hey, man, I'd love to have you come on, maybe do some, some tech stuff or bring us up to speed. And he said, I don't think, my stuff is like super technical. I don't think your audience would really like it. It was like a kind of polite way of saying, I'm not going on. I don't know. I rather liked it. Very funny. But yeah, so the last gasps of KGO are coming out in support for Kim. It's very exciting. Albert, the most exciting news was the news that you provided us. I'm so excited for the show's first baby, and we love you.
Congratulations.
For the Mark Johnson Show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. On Monday, I'll share
Out of time. Bye-bye.
a couple of things we didn't have time for today. Out of time. Bye-bye.